Okay, sixth period, because I just took my sweet old time. We are going to finish these notes. Once again, I apologize for not managing my time well enough. Sincerest apologies. Okay, so let me get rid of this. We ended up here, and it says let's plug into Desmos. Now, Desmos is a super great tool that we're going to use to help us graph. However, all right, we need to make sure that we're reading directions, meaning we know, okay, am I allowed to use Desmos? Am I not? Do I have to show my work? Okay, please make sure, unless it says use Desmos, you are showing your work, okay? If you want to check it with Desmos, awesome, but show your work regardless. Now, the first step we need to do is we need to fill in this table. Before, we were taking those X's, plugging them in to every single one, or for every single one, and getting a different Y. Here, I'm going to touch this gear shift. All right, it highlighted or grayed a little bit so you can see where it is. And then I'm going to touch that table icon. Okay, this brought up those wonderful 5 points that we are working with, and it gave us the Y values. Okay, and then it told us, or it kind of showed us, what our graph should look like. So we're going to plot those points based off this table. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy. Boom, we go edge to edge. Let me fix this guy just a little bit. We draw our arrows, done. Okay, easy peasy. Now, let's type this new equation in. Sorry if you can hear my dog. He's being quite the distraction. All right, he just left the room. We're good. Okay, so I'm going to type in y is equal to, now pay attention to the highlighted symbols over here so we can see how I'm typing this in case we're unaware. Negative 1 divided by 3. Now, we need x to be on the outside. We don't want 3x, so we're going to tap just right next to the 1/3 to bring our cursor back up. I'm going to write x plus 3, okay? Once again, I'm going to tap the gear shift, tap the table. Now, these y values look really, really ugly, so I'm going to see if I can pick some better x values to make my y values much easier for me to graph. So I'm going to focus on what's happening with this x, okay? I know that any x I plug in will be multiplied by 1/3, meaning it would be divided by 3. So, and we discussed this a bit in my other classes, what would make good x values knowing that whatever we do plug in for x is going to be divided by 3? What do we think? Well, I'll tell you, just because you can't answer back. All right, we're going to find multiples of 3. So 0 is always a good one to keep in there, so we're going to keep 0. And then I'm going to go to -3 and -6, 3, and 6. And see what that did? That took those really ugly y values away and made it super easy for us to plot these points. So we're going to go ahead and continue to plot like we've been doing. I think mine's off a little bit. There we go. Boom. There's that graph. Should look like the one on Desmos. By all means, always check Desmos to make sure that, yours is looking like what it's supposed to. But remember, unless it doesn't say so, we must plug in chug and find those points, okay? Now, the last thing that I wanted to discuss was the bigger picture. Now, the first thing I want us to do is I want us to think about how these points, okay, relate to this graph, but how this graph is much, much different, okay, much more expansive. So, earlier today, my kids told me, or you guys, not my kids, my students, I call you my kids, sorry, all right, we discussed that this table was discrete while the graph was continuous, okay? Now, the discrete table just gave us 5 inputs and outputs, okay, that managed to fall on our line, okay? But what I want us to take away from this is we just found 5 of those infinitely many possible solutions, okay? So what that line is it's giving us a clear image, a picture of solutions instead of a list of solutions, okay? So any input ever, let me see if I can pull Desmos back up. Any input ever to fall on this line, say it was negative 5,289. And then whatever that number is, okay? It has an output, okay? Look at that huge number up at the top, okay? That's an actual input and output. Now, it's never something you will aptograph, but those lines, they go on forever, okay? So we have infinitely many solutions. As long as they are falling on that line, we will get an input and an output from this function, okay? So that was what I wanted to take away from this lesson today. I think you're all amazing at filling in a table and graphing, but we got to know what even that means, okay? So, I hope this helped. I hope this helps us finish our notes today. I want us to just know that when we see something like x equals 1 or y equals 3, what that means is no matter what, all 5 points in the x column are just going to be 1. All 5 points in the y column is going to be 3. You pick the rest, plot them and graph. Okay? Alrighty, well, best of luck. Message me if you have questions. Goodbye.